Blackwinterwells is a talented underground artist who has made a name for themselves over the past few years. Hopefully this video helps you learn a little more about this artist. Growing up in Hamilton, Ontario, Wells had an interest in music for as long as they can remember. Wells' parents said that Wells had been singing since Wells was able to talk. Wells said that their first musical memories were their parents playing bands such as Depeche Mode and Tears for Fears when Wells was about 5 years old. Wells feels that this is probably where they subconsciously formed their indissoluble love of romplers and melancholic chord progressions. Also around this age, Wells recalled when their cousin gave Wells a Game Boy Color and Wells would fly to the top corner of the screen in Kirby's Dream Land during the boss fight to listen to King Dedede's theme over and over again. Wells said that they definitely got the quote chiptune bug very early on. Wells included that they think it's funny that they enjoyed electronic music from so early on because their taste would shift with age and it would take a while for Wells to rediscover electronic music for themselves. Around the ages of about 10 or 11, Wells got Guitar Hero 3 and immediately clung to all the punk, post-hardcore, and metal music in the game. Wells said that suddenly that was all they cared about and listened to for years. This would change for Wells during their 9th grade year when they discovered the genres of trance and happy hardcore music on YouTube. Wells also mentioned during this time all of their friends being into nightcore and all the other stuff like that. Another influential moment for Wells' music taste around this time actually came during a game of World of Warcraft when a stranger they were playing with introduced Wells to Dotsick. The song Nukem by Dotsick influenced Wells to go find stuff like music from the label UKF along with artists such as Flux Pavilion and Skrillex. Skrillex was Wells' favorite and their main inspiration to start making music. Starting in 2010, Wells was making albums upon albums of music, and looking back on it, Wells said this music was pretty bad. Wells was uploading this music to Bandcamp under the name Drain Puppet and even made some music friends throughout the next couple of years. In 2013, Wells said they put out an EP or two that looking back on, Wells considers to be decent. In the year 2014, Wells felt that they were beginning to find their sound as Drain Puppet when they started creating future bass music that was gaining a little attention on SoundCloud. By the time the year 2017 had rolled around, Wells was making experimental music and DJing. Wells put out some projects that did decently, and looking back, Wells said their music was definitely good at this point. However, Wells still felt like they liked it more than anyone else did. Wells had always wanted to implement vocals into their music, however they never did because Wells wasn't a huge fan of when future bass producers would put vocals on their music. Wells was a big fan of Lil Peep and Blade at the time but never considered stepping into that lane. This was until Wells heard the tragic news of Lil Peep's passing. After hearing about Lil Peep passing away, Wells said it hit them hard, and essentially Wells realized life is too short to not do what you want to do. With this newfound mindset, Wells took to the mic to record the album titled 2, which featured vocals on every track. Following this, in the year 2018, the Blackwinterwells project was created. In the beginning, Wells said it was a very concerted effort to be emo rap and was heavily inspired by Lil Peep. Over time, Wells started creating and rapping over Blade-style beats which had less guitar in the instrumentals, however the vocals maintained the Lil Peep influence. In 2019, Wells was beginning to get involved with the hyperpop scene while it was still in its early stages. In October of that year, Wells joined the collective titled Goon City. At this point, Wells was making music as fast as they could and collaborating with as many artists as possible. Wells said that collaborations in the EDM scene were not as common as they were in this community, and by the time the COVID lockdown in 2020 hit, it only added fuel to this collaboration fire. In the summer of 2020, Wells released the project titled Seraph. Following Seraph, the project titled Stone Ocean was released in fall of that same year. In 2021, Wells released the project titled Tracing Paths, followed by the project Fractalize. Wells also released the song titled Omen, which was a big hit upon its release and spawned Wells' first music video. Wells would go on to perform their first show at Market Hotel in September of 2021. Wells continued to keep the ball rolling with projects such as Crystal Shards and Protector in 2022 along with Mortal in 2023. Wells hopes to release their next project titled Magician in 2024. Blackwinterwells is a true artist and I look forward to hearing what comes next. Well, that's all for this video. Big shout out to Hopeless for the edit, and please subscribe for more mini documentaries on various underground artists.